This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Thursday edition of Locked On Bets. As always, we thank you for making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. Big day today. Why? Because A, it's the end of July. B, the Major League Baseball trade deadline. And C, some football this evening. The Chargers and the Lions, the Hall of Fame game. We'll break that down coming up in just a little bit. So a lot to get to. We'll talk about UFC Fight Night as well. They're at the Apex in Vegas coming up this weekend. We'll get some best bets from Lee, but let's begin with some Major League Baseball.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
Only 3 games today in Major League Baseball, 1 in the afternoon, 2 at night. The Braves and the Reds, they meet in Cincinnati. The Reds avoided a sweep by knocking off the Dodgers last night. The Braves have been dreadful. They got shut out by the Royals in 10 innings. I don't know how that's even possible. 10 innings without a run, but still. Braves in Cincinnati, Elly de la Cruz, his prop tonight facing the great, or once great, Carlos Carrasco. Didn't even know he was with the Braves at this point, but hey, we'll see what Elly can do tonight. So, Lee, what's your best bet with Elly de la Cruz?
This is my non-hidden gem because I'm going to be going against the Braves pitchers or team early and often. So, Elly de la Cruz, interesting cat. I mean, he's like 6'6", 6'7", and he is a shortstop. Sometimes, once in a while, they put him at center field. I don't know too many shortstops that hit 282 with 16 homers and 69 RBIs at this point in their career. He drives the ball. And who is he facing? Braves pitcher, Carlos Carrasco. Carrasco is bad, equally bad against lefties and also righties. In fact, 5.91 ERA. He was so bad that the Yankees sold him to the Braves for cash. Well, wouldn't have been cash 20, 30 years ago. Would have been baseballs, and that's what they used to do. This guy probably wouldn't even have garnered a couple dozen baseballs. He has a whip of 153. Another pitcher, just like last night, not going to be with the team next year, just working him, just getting whatever they can out of him for the rest of the season. I mean, it's horrible what the Braves are doing. If I'm a fan of the Braves, I am not happy. So weather is good again. Braves bullpen also awful, just like their starters here. I'm going with Elly de la Cruz over 1.5 bases. If it works out like last night, this one could be over in the first at bat.
And we talked about the Braves a few days ago. They brought in Eric Fede from the Cardinals, bringing in Carlos Carrasco. Just have, again, if you have an arm, just come to the mound. We need anybody to pitch for a little bit. And, you know what, this season's shot for Atlanta anyway, so they're really going nowhere. And I think you mentioned it too, either yesterday or the day before with the Royals-Braves game, that you're just trying to get through this next 2 months if you're the Braves. You don't really have a lot of motivation right now.
I mean, if you're going, let's say you're going with a family, I mean, your kid's not going to be happy watching this if you're a Braves fan. Don't take a date or a girlfriend, or you better make sure you're married and you got a stable marriage if you want to go to a Braves game the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad for them. And, sometimes it's tough like that. So Atlanta, Cincinnati tonight, one of the 3 games in Major League Baseball. Texas, Seattle, also a big one inside the American League West. We'll talk about that coming up with a prop in the next segment. But reviewing what unfolded yesterday with our 3 picks on the show, I don't want to disturb you lately, but I was going to text you when I saw Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners. You made a good case for him to go over 1.5 bases, and he got 4 bases on his first swing in his first at-bat against the A's last night. Hit a solo homer out of the gate. Mariners end up losing that game to the A's, but still, you got to like it when you get that one. A homer out of the gate, done, shut it off, and be finished.
That's even better than first quarter plays in the WNBA. So he's been cracking home runs, and he is hot. And another thing to also consider, they have gotten themselves some fortifications at the trade deadline. got themselves the Diamondbacks' first and third baseman. I never thought I'd see the day where Seattle is going to make a run.
They get Josh Naylor from the Diamondbacks, and most recently Eugenio Suarez, who was with them a few years ago. We knew he was done in Arizona. Trade deadline is today. They're going to pick him up. So, again, they're making that run. We've never seen the Mariners in a World Series, so maybe this will be the year they do it. They have solid pitching as long as it stays healthy, and the Mariners will see what they could do inside the American League West. As far as our loser in the other American League West matchup last night, had the Angels. They lost to the Rangers 6-3. It was a 1-1 game halfway through. Texas, their offense blew up late. Angels couldn't get enough. And we talked about it yesterday, too, on the show, Lee, that, Mike Trout, also with Shanuel, like these guys right in the middle of the lineup, they had the bases loaded and 1 out. Trout struck out. Shanuel flew out. And it's tough. It really is tough when you have those opportunities, especially against a guy like Nathan Eovaldi, and you can't get any runs out of it.
I think it was 1-1 at the time. Am I correct?
No, it was scoreless.
Okay.
Yeah.
They get a hit there, and they go up by 2-3 runs by either of those guys. So you got your chances. You just got to take advantage of them. We were there. Not like we lost 7-0. We'll be back.
Yeah.
Maybe not on the Angels, though. Maybe not on the Angels.
Yeah, that was a tough one. It was Soriano pitched well enough, and it happens. So the other one, the Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Yankees, Lee had the under of 9, and the Rays were up 1-0 going to the bottom of the 8th. So it was a winner, right? Oh, you got to check the game because the Yankees ended up taking the lead in the 8th. The Rays got a couple in the 9th to take the lead. The Yankees tied the game in the bottom of the 9th. And then they went to extras. It goes crazy there. Yankees end up walking it off 5-4. Tough one to swallow, definitely. When it's 1-0 in the 8th, when you need, 9 outs, and you still have 7 runs to play with, and you end up losing. Or actually, you don't lose, you push, but it still feels like a loss.
Yeah, I mean, that was almost worse than a kiss your sister push. So that's all I can say. We move on. We probably had the right side, but, all other weeks, we would have probably gotten the win there, but still got a shot. I mean, we're 1 game under 500 on Thursday, and I feel confident about what we have going here today, both you and I.
Yeah, and we did not forget about the Hall of Fame game. No one's forgetting about that. The Chargers and the Lions, we're going to break that down coming up in just a little bit for the lock of the day. Won't see Jared Goff or Justin Herbert tonight. Really no shocker there. But Lee will break down the Hall of Fame game in Canton. We got plenty more to get to, baseball, UFC as well. So we will talk about all of that as we continue right here on Locked On Bets. Let's tell you now about Monarch Money. And Monarch Money, ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Stick to your budget with these tools. Monarch Money has a flex budget system allowing you to save for big goals. Also, you can modify your groups and categories that suit you at Monarch Money. Also, this is cool, you can use flex budgeting when expenses change from month to month. Also, you can use fixed budgeting when you know what your expenses are. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. As we roll on here, Locked On Bets here on this Thursday, July 31st. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling with you. We went over the first night baseball game between the Braves and the Reds. So now let's go to the late game on the diamond.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
So, Lee, we don't have a side or a total in any of these games. We don't have a lot of choices. There's one game during the day and 2 games at night. So, thankfully for player props, at least we have other things we can consider. So, for my hidden gem tonight, we're going to go with Kumar Rocker of the Rangers under on his strikeouts, actually plus money around plus 110, under 4.5 strikeouts. Now, taking a look at his numbers for the season, Kumar Rocker at home so far, 5 of 6 starts, at least 5 strikeouts. He had 6 against Seattle earlier this year. So, okay, pretty impressive. But on the road, though, here are his starts, 7 of them with strikeouts. 3, 2, 2, 5, 4, 4, 2. So one time he's gone over 4.5 strikeouts in 7 road starts. One time at Seattle, he did have 2 strikeouts. So he had 2 on the road, 6 at home in the 2 matchups with Seattle. And he's just pitched better at home than on the road. So we're going to go with Kumar Rocker under 4.5 strikeouts for our hidden gem this evening. Big game between the Rangers and the Mariners in Seattle.
Let's ride the wave. Let's hope he gets rocked early and often and gets pulled, and I can just watch the football game the rest of the way.
Yeah, and no word if Eugenio Suarez will suit up tonight for the Mariners after this trade, if they got to get through all like the nuts and bolts of it. But regardless, though, I still think that Rocker will finish under his strikeout prop. So
they could be crazy. The Mariner fans tonight, we might actually see a wave. They're pretty low key. We might, in football, they're wild, but we might see the Seattle Mariner baseball fans come alive for the first time in a long, long time.
I feel like the last time they really did this was whenever Felix Hernandez took the mound. The King Felix thing in the stands. Like, that was always when it was a big party there at T-Mobile Park, formerly Safeco Field, and you haven't had that kind of excitement there in a while. It's too bad because they, Seattle, going back to the Kingdome with the years with A-Rod and Griffey and Randy Johnson and Jay Buhner, all that they had, that they haven't had the same thing, I feel like, since they moved to the new park.
They got some bats right now. So they always had pitching, and now they're healthy. Their pitchers early in the year, I think they were down 2-3 starters, but they're all hands on deck. This is going to be a tough team. I think they're going to be a fun team to watch. So if you're up late night, let's root for Seattle to knock them out early.
Yeah, George Kirby starting tonight. He missed time early. Logan Gilbert's back, so we'll see if that pitching staff stays intact. Now let's shift over to UFC. And on this show, Lee Sterling has really killed it with the UFC. It feels like every time we talk about it, we always produce winners. So let's do it again at UFC Fight Night at the Apex in Vegas.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
UFC Fight Night coming up this weekend, Lee, in Vegas, and you've been hot with this. Like, you've really been on top of it. So what's new with your plays for Saturday?
Okay, so if you look at this fight, you look at the name, you're saying Mateusz Rebecki. It's Rebcki, but I think it's pronounced, I believe it's pronounced Rebecki. So, or Betsky, maybe it's Rebecki. Phonetically doesn't make sense, but that's the way it is. But 32 years old, 22 record, hails from Poland. He's going to fight Chris the Problem Duncan. Duncan's won a couple fights of late, 32 also, 13-2 record. He's from Scotland. Now, if you see these two guys fight, you're like, well, they're about the same. Why is he such a big favorite here? So Duncan, in my opinion, can only win when he stuns his opponent and then he goes for a guillotine choke. I don't think he's going to be able to stun Rebecki because Rebecki is one of these guys that's, I think, going to beat him to the punch. Think also his defense, as far as even when he does get hit, he's not going to be able to be taken down and guillotine choked. Duncan's, I just don't think he has a good enough striking defense. That's a real problem here. Becky is stout and strong. This is what I call a car crash fight. These two guys are going to go in there swinging. This is not going to last long. I think Duncan's going to go out, get put out via KO first or second round. So for that reason, I'm going to lay the line here. Get it now before it goes up even more. like minus 205, minus 210 money line. Matuz, Rizbecki over Chris. The problem, Duncan. It's going to be my blowout special on Saturday night in the UFC co-main event.
Now, just to review here, Lee, what has been your record overall with your service and even on the show with your UFC picks since we started?
I think we're either 4-0 or 5-0 on our picks that we've given out free on air. And we've won, get this, 9 of the last 10 cards. So this year we did lose our first 2. We went 3-4 back to back, which not horrible, not getting killed. And then we've come back and won 9 of the last 10 cards. And I rate my selections from 10 to 50 units. And we are now 28-10 on our 40 to 50 unit max wagers. And we do have one going in this card. 6 selections, $36, ParamountSports.com.
All right. And we'll talk more about that coming up as well a little bit later on. But coming up, the Hall of Fame game. It is tonight in Canton, Ohio, between the Lions and the Chargers. Preseason begins next week, and we'll have all the games, so it's very exciting. But finally, a football game coming up, and the lock of the day after this right here on Locked On Bets. We continue Locked On Bets here on this Thursday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And we all waited a very long time. We waited since that horrible Super Bowl between the Eagles and the Chiefs. So at least we're back here. Not saying the football is going to be better tonight, but at least we have a game. So let's get right to it with tonight's lock.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
The Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Chargers tonight, 2 old rivals. They get at it in Canton, Ohio for the Hall of Fame game. And we've noticed over the years, I mean, it's not like it happened 2 years ago, Lee. It's been on for 10, 15 years, that you're not going to see the stars play. So no Jared Goff, no Justin Herbert. But you still have football, and there's still excitement in the air because now you know football's around the corner. Lions are a short favorite here. So with all that being said, what do you like in tonight's game between the Lions and the Chargers in Canton?
So first, let me correct you. The Super Bowl is always great when you win, no matter whether you win by 1 point or you win in a blowout. I loved it. So I won it. So it was a great Super Bowl.
Fair.
Yeah. It's all about, who you're backing. So this line started at like 1.5, and it's moved to Detroit 2.5, and the total's 33.5. As you mentioned, no Jared Goff, no Justin Herbert. In fact, starting 22, I don't think you'll see a starter on either team even hit the field. The only starters, based on what I'm hearing, are the 2 kickers, and they're pretty good. Jake Bates for Detroit and Cameron Dicker for the Chargers. But other than that, Chargers running back, no Najee Harris. Maybe Omarion Hampton. If he plays, let's talk about the backups after he goes out. I can't see him giving him more than 3-4 carries. You've got Kamani Vidal, well, not very well known, not much of a player, in my opinion, comes from Troy. Hassan Haskins out of Michigan, a backup in college. So I'm not thrilled there, and I think the Chargers love to run the football. When you run the football, eats the clock. On the other side, who do you have? You got on that side, you got the quarterbacks. Taylor Heineke, not look good last preseason. Trey Lance is awful. Already on his 3rd team. Don't think he'll be in the league in another year or 2. And DJ Uiagalelei, your starting quarterback from last year, Florida State.
No, he wasn't. No, we don't count him. No, he doesn't count.
What do you mean?
I don't count him as far as a Florida State quarterback. He was playing quarterback at the school, but he doesn't count as one of us. So no.
Okay.
It was terrible.
I was shocked that he even got a camp invite. I was shocked if even a Canadian team would have given him an invite. If he hits the field, I can't see him doing much. On the other side, Detroit has Hendon Hooker. Okay, he's been hurt. Kyle Allen, mediocre. You're not going to see Jahmyr Gibbs. You're not going to see David Montgomery. So Who are the running backs with two new coordinators here? Sione Vaki. Haven't heard of him. Neither did Utah, and he played there for a couple years. Not much of a player. Jabari Small. He comes from Tennessee. He wasn't much of a player. I think both teams are going to run a ton here, other than field goal kicking being a strength. I think this is a 14-10, at most 16-14 game here. Might see whoever wins it score a touchdown and 3 field goals. There's more than 2 touchdowns scored in this game. That's going to be a lot. I'm going the under 33.5 total points. Level 1 lock to start the football season.
And, for a long time, Lee, there was the thought that automatically take the under in the Hall of Fame game. And that went away the last 3 years because we saw the over hit Jags Raiders 3 years ago, Jets Browns 2 years ago, and then Texans Bears last year. Not crazy games, 37, 38 point scores. So it wasn't, high scoring games, but just went over the low totals of 32, 33, somewhere in that range. But I'm with you. And another number here, Jim Harbaugh, now his second season as the head coach of the Chargers. The first 2 games last year in the preseason, the Chargers scored a total of, I believe it was 12 points, no touchdowns. So they didn't even score. So Harbaugh's he's not his brother. His brother's trying to win all these games. Jim is like, forget it. Let's just get through these. And even with Dan Campbell, the Lions have had, their struggles early in the preseason. But again, Detroit's got bigger goals. They're a team that's thought to win the NFC. So this game means nothing to them. And I always hate using that term, saying these games mean nothing. But we know in the overall, you're getting these younger guys opportunities that aren't going to be impact players. So what are they really going to do unless you have a pick six or you have a scoop and score, something like that? You're not going to have these long drives generated by these offenses.
Great point. And then also, I don't think you're going to see a trick play by either team. So, if this was the regular season, Detroit with Ben Johnson last year, he used to run them early and often, but they're just going to keep things under the vest, low key. They want to see what guys do. Can the offensive line, run block? Do the basics here. They're not going to try many bombs. They don't want to see the offensive line, see if they can hold them off for 4 or 5 seconds. Just want to do some basic plays, both teams, and get in and out, without any injuries. And if I could be wrong, I think that if it was a tie, there won't be an overtime. Didn't they do that once or something? Memory, I'm trying to remember what happened. Neither of these two teams, it's like exhibition baseball. If it's like baseball when it's 5-5 and they get through 9 innings, exhibition baseball, that's it. They're over. I think they're going to call it, right?
I got to believe so. I'm not 100% sure on it, but I got to believe just end it at that point. Quickly on this point, because we probably won't bring up his name again, but why do you think that Trey Lance never materialized in the NFL? That we saw Carson Wentz come from an FCS school and do what he did, and Trey Lance the same thing from an FCS school. He was going to be like that next guy that can come from there. But why did it never materialize, you think, with him?
When studying his film, I think he's not able to pick up his second, third options quick enough. He was playing in FCS ball. His team was so good, almost all the time he found his first option open and just had better players at every position. So things look good. It's like watching film. When you watch film from a good, a highly rated kid, when he plays at a small school, when he's playing a bad school, the difference in talent, he drops back, everything looks spectacular. I really only look at games when someone is playing, as far as coming out of high school, coming out of college, against similar talent. Those are the games that I care about. Throw out those games against nothing.
Yeah, and it's just tough that this is like the time Trey Lance shines during the preseason, because he's not going to play in the regular season unless Justin Herbert gets hurt. So, and it's unfortunate. A guy was the number 3 pick, and it's just a total bust going to San Francisco.
Traded up for him, Kevin.
Yeah.
Traded up for him. They thought he was a real deal. There's a lot of guys look great in uniform, and they're great, and at the combine. A lot more goes into it in the NFL.
Yeah, it just goes to show you that sometimes these guys miss. These GMs and scouts and all that miss on these guys. Yeah. So with that being said, Lee, looking ahead now, because we have the preseason coming up next week. Football is back. What's going on with Paramount Sports?
So this is what we're going to do. I mentioned the UFC fights. We have 6 selections. $36, including one rare major wager max release, 40 to 50 unit play there. So we won 9 of 10 UFC cards. Also, you want to get next week's football. It looks like we're going to be ready to go soon with that, with the exhibition. We'll have that special, 3 selections, $33. Entire football season. I'm going to do a one-day only special. Normally $19.97. If they call the office at 800-400-9741, I'll give them 20% off my entire season. Comes to $1,597. That's $400 off. How do you get it? Get my entire football season via my phone service. Just one place, ParamountSports.com and 800-400-9741.
And again, Lee's been red hot with the UFC, and the preseason football's coming up next week. So this is the time to really get in. You can find Lee at Paramount Sports, on X at Paramount Sports. Find myself also on X at Rogers Picks. And as far as our show goes, we appreciate your support. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Bets. Also, our podcast as well. Rate and review it. We appreciate it. You can find that on your favorite audio platform. And tomorrow is Friday, and tomorrow is August. So we finally flipped the calendar, and looking forward to more baseball plays coming up tomorrow. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for watching Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.